Good morning, everybody. This is Work With Me Wednesday, and we have a special treat for you today. I don't know how to introduce this person because I honestly could spend about 10 minutes just introducing her. I met her last year. She was the best friend of my wife, and she is just a wonderful person. She is an RN. She is a lactation consultant. She is a rock star brand rep. Been a diamond ambassador for, I don't know, I've seen her trophy wall. It looks like 25 years, but I know she's not that old. She has diamonds everywhere in her house. Her and her sister combined do some of the best instructional training, and she is one of the most organized people I've ever met in my life. She has it together. I could go on and on and on and on. Dawnalea Kneese, and it's not niece like I called her for 2 years. It's Kneese.
Thank you, Emmett. Oh my goodness, I don't even know how to follow that now with anything that I'm going to share. That was so kind of you.
She's also my personal diamond upline, and her husband Cash is my emerald upline. So this like they have a rock star mentality. So I'm going to mute myself because I'm very distracting, Donnelly. So I'm gone.
Okay. All right, guys. So I have a power hour for you today, and it's going to be a little bit different probably than what you're used to. And I want to start the first 5 minutes. So I'm going to be setting my timer here. And what I want to do is really work on mindset for the first 5 minutes, because I don't know about you guys, but I have recently felt this just heaviness of the world, heaviness of COVID, heaviness on my business, heaviness just around me. And I've heard that a lot from my team. And I think that it's really easy to let that also affect our businesses. So we have to be very mindful of the things that we are consuming, especially with social media. I don't mean that by food and drink. I mean it by social media, what we're looking at, what we're reading, what we're watching. So the first thing I want you to do is think about the things that you're seeing day in and day out that are making you feel discouraged or unhappy or fearful. And I want you to find a way to eliminate those. So I want you to write out what things this week you're going to detox. So whether it's social media, whether it's unfollowing people who are always negative, because that is going to help your mindset, and it's going to help move your business forward so that you can show up as your best self. So go ahead and take 5 minutes to think about that. And if you finish that quickly, if you already know what you need to get rid of, then I want you to think of your weekly goal, because it's always important to know where you're going each week and what that looks like. So if you don't have a goal each week, then you don't know what you're working for. You're kind of just scrambling out there and you're just putting posts, doing this and doing that. There's really no, you have to have something that you're working towards. It's really important, okay? So I want you to take 5 minutes to do that, and then we'll be back in 5 minutes. Thank you for the timer, Emmett. That's awesome.
I was like a Zoom rookie, and I found this on accident. I was looking for music. I was like, this is really cool. So if anybody knows how to use Zoom the right way, we need to have one of those tutorials.
All right, guys. So I think that the timer froze, but I feel in my soul that was 5 minutes. Emmett's saying, hold on.
You were close. There's 42 seconds left. I don't know what that
Okay.
was saying. I'm
Well.
gonna stop it though.
All right. So I hope you guys, in doing that, found hopefully some peace moving forward. We just had my sister just went live about this just a few days ago on our team page if you're actually on my team. And we just think it's so important to just be cautious. It's so easy for us all to get wrapped up in the day in and day out, the news, the TV, the things that we're looking at. And a lot of that just can really stall us in our businesses. Like and I can, even as a diamond, sometimes I get stuck in that wheel of, feeling like there's so much going on around me. How could I possibly work my business in this? But I want you to think about this day in and day out when you work your business. You are the light for other people. You are bringing health and happiness. You are bringing solutions to them for their health, for their immune systems, and you are creating a way for them to provide wealth for themselves and their families for years to come. And we can't say enough about that as a company. So that's always important to start your day with. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing is a 10-minute activity, and we are going to be interacting with 8 people. And what I want you to do is, because a lot of people get kind of lost in our on our social media, and this is primarily going to be Facebook, just because I know how to access it easier this way. So what you're going to do, you're going to go into your friends list, you're going to sort, and then you're going to click see oldest first. Okay, so go to your friends list, hit sort, and then oldest first. And what that's going to do, it's going to pull up all of your friends, your very first friends you've ever had on Facebook. And the reason why we do this is sometimes you don't see these people anymore. And I want you to scroll through them and look through it and ask yourself which 8 people could possibly need what we have. And I just want you to go on and, send a message. Hey, I was looking at my social media. I haven't seen you on my news feed. I just wanted to say hello and wish you well. Or you can interact on their posts, you can interact on their stories, but I want you to interact with 8 people. If for time purposes, if you cannot figure out the oldest first, I want you to go through your newsfeed and interact with 8 people that are not already with Plexus and add value to their life in some way. And I will see you guys in 10 minutes.
Hey, Donnelly, Heather had a question, and I'm not sure how to answer it. It says, "So I'm not seeing a button for oldest. I have all or reset."
Yeah, so if you click on friends, and then you can click all friends, and then you click sort, and then it will pop up, and then you'll have an option. It says default, new friends first, or oldest friends first, and I click oldest friends first. All right. Emmett, are you timing this? Because I want to make sure I'm not cutting in too early.
Yeah, I don't know if the timer's showing or not. I may need to reset it, but there's actually 58 seconds left. So,
Okay, yeah. It's not. I'm still seeing the screen share of the timer that froze.
okay, let me just X off of it. There we
There we
go.
go. All right. Well, I hope when you guys were looking through your old friends that something that I notice when I go that way is I can go through it and say, hey, this is where I was at in my life when I started getting these friends. It's almost like a timeline of your life from the past when you were adding different people. Maybe you recognized, oh, I met this person from an old job, or this person I went to school with. So, thinking of that and thinking of how you originally connected, sometimes I will actually, if I don't recall how I had connected with them, I will hit a message and see if we ever had any correspondence in the past, any conversation, and then I'll just start kind of interacting with them. So you never know where that's going to go. Okay, so for the next 10 minutes, we are going to look at how you do your IPA day in and day out. So IPA meaning income producing activity. We want to make sure that what you're doing is actually getting you to where you want to go. And so IPA is not scrolling Facebook while interacting and networking with people is definitely something we have to do to grow our business. That is not actually always income producing. So I think a lot of time can be spent scrolling and just looking at pictures and looking through stories. But if we're not actually adding value back to people when we're doing that, we are not working our business. So I want you to take a look for 10 minutes at your IPA. So go ahead and write it out. What is your IPA? What does that look like? And this is important because when you start teaching your team these things, you need to be able to communicate well to them. What is IPA and what do you do? So I want you to think about these things when you're writing this out. So ask yourself, is your IPA consistent? So is it something that can be consistently done? Does it add value? So think about what you're doing. So I always ask myself, like with my stories or posting, and I try to do this 3 times a week, have something that adds value to people. You have to ask yourself, do I have influence? And if not, then maybe the posts and the content that you put out has to be guided towards gaining influence for some period of time. Everyone's business is in different seasons. And then also, sometimes your IPA can literally look like cleaning up your social media, going through, taking down things that are negative, taking down some rants that you may have made, taking down maybe pictures that you just put up for the sake of putting something up, but it doesn't add any value. Because remember, people come to our page, they're going to look at it for a few seconds, and then that's when they're going to decide, do I accept their friend request? Do I send a friend request? Who's this person sending me a message? Are they worth my time? And you want them to think, yes, of course they are. Okay, so I want you to take 10 minutes and write out, what does your income producing activity on the daily look like? All right, guys. I hope that was enlightening for you. Some of the things that I wrote down as far as IPA that I focus on is making sure I'm looking at my perks report. I think that's something that we overlook. And it's a great way also to learn to communicate with your team. So if you have a team and say you see on your perks report that you have a level 2 losing perks or maybe level 3, and you would go directly to that sponsor and you would say, hey, Sarah, I see that so and so is about to lose 1,000 perks. Are you comfortable reaching out to her? And then if not, you talk about ways for her to reach out to that person to make sure that they don't lose those perks. So, helping them to come up with scripts, that is income producing. And the reason why is that a lot of people don't even know that they're earning rewards on their product and their subscription going out every month. And maybe they just wanted to pause for a month, but they weren't really sure. Or maybe their credit card declined and they decided to stop their subscriptions for the time being. There's always a lot of different reasons. So learning how to communicate and have those hard conversations is really, really important as you grow your business. The other thing is reaching out directly to people. Almost every single business builder that I have reached out to directly. And I have had that conversation with them. What could this do for your life? Let me help you grow a business. And I think that that's really important to think about. And the people that are in your circle in your life that you want to do business with, how are you communicating that to them? The other thing is helping your team members go silver. So even if they're just going to be a VIP customer from here on out, they just want to get the products, they could still benefit from going silver. They are going to earn rewards, and they are also going to be able, if they wish, to make compensation. Okay. The other thing is you want to train somebody. So usually every day I ask myself, who can I train? So whether it's just like a simple training over Messenger, going back and forth, helping someone troubleshoot, getting on my team page, and you are never underqualified to go live on the team page. So if you don't have your own team page, get with your sponsor or whoever runs the team page and go live about something. Ask them, say, hey, what do you need help with this week? I would love to go live and teach the team something. Because the more and more you do it, I know it's probably scares some of you, the better you're going to get at it. It's going to become like riding a bike, right? Remember when you probably don't remember learning to ride a bike unless you did it as an adult. But think about crawling, think about learning to ride a bike, things that were once very difficult for you, but you persist and they became easy. And that is just like going live and training somebody. So always look at that as an opportunity to grow. As you do hard things and you do things that you don't really want to do, that's how you grow and become a better leader. The next thing I wrote down was personal development. You have to invest in yourself. The better you become, the more professional you come, you are going to attract those people. So you might look back over your business if you've been here a while, and maybe for a while you were just attracting wholesale people because you were just posting about products. Or maybe at some point you just weren't attracting the best people. You also have to reevaluate where you were in your life, what kind of content you were putting out, what kind of conversations you were having, and know that you can always raise that lid for yourself, but you have to be willing to do the work. And that involves personal growth and development. So I think that is super income producing. So looking at, what conferences can you go to? What team events can you plug into? What corporate events can you plug into? What team calls? What are you listening to? What podcasts, what books, ways to grow yourself. And that's always a really good way to have content to teach back to other people. And the other thing is Reels. I do think Reels are income producing because you're going to be able to reach more people. Social media has changed so much since 2014 when I started my business. And Reels are where it's at on Instagram. I know a lot of people are merging that way, or they're creating Reels and putting them back on Facebook. However you do it, that is kind of the way of the future right now. And it has been for the last, 6 to 9 months. So if you're not doing that, you need to start doing that because that's going to reach some new people. The other thing is just showing up. Show up even when you don't want to. This might be the hardest thing, to be consistent. Consistency is good IPA. Show up even when you don't want to. And the last thing I wrote down is think about the content you're putting out and make sure it adds value. Remember, people buy from people that they know, that they like, and they trust. So the first part of putting out our content and our posts and our stories is getting people to know us. If we're not putting anything out there for them to know us, then why would they like us? How can you like somebody if you don't know them? And then lastly, that trust factor. People buy from people that they trust. You see things all the time that you're exposed to, but you might not purchase it, or you might not look into it because you don't trust the company. You don't trust what they're putting out there, but you do trust your friends. So think about that when you are building content and putting things out there. So that is what I put down for my IPA. What I want you guys to do now, that if you are on a laptop and you also have your phone, I want you to open up your camera and I want you to go over to time lapse, and I want you to set it up where it is going to record you working for the last 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm doing mine here as well. So if you follow me, you'll see it on my story today. So I'm going to set it up, and there's a reason for this, and I'll tell you in a little bit, but I'm going to set it up so that I can watch myself work. You can see me work. This is good content, okay, because people think that you just sit behind your computer and do nothing. So set it up. So whether you set it up where it can see, the phone camera can see Zoom, that's always good, and always like your side profile, however you do it. So take a minute to get that set up. I'm going to do that as well here. Okay. And then you're going to hit time lapse, and then you're just going to hit the red button. Okay. If you have a different phone, I don't know what color it is or what that looks like because I only have iPhones, but you're going to hit the time lapse button. Okay. And this is just really cool to put in your story. So I'm going to show you more about this in just a bit. So just do that. Okay, so then the next thing we are going to do is I want you to think about, as we are switching into phase 2, and as a company, we're being rewarded more for customers. We can build a business with customers now. I want you to think about, what is your customer care plan? What does that look like when someone comes in and they just buy a bottle of probio, or maybe they get kids vitamins now, or maybe they just want the Slim? What does that look like for you? How do you follow up with them? How do you tell them that you're thankful for their order? How do you plug them into a community? Do you have a community to plug them into? For my team, we have some VIP pages or we have a VIP page where we plug them into, where they are, they have access to challenges, they get product info, they get daily like uplifting posts. They just have somewhere to ask questions. They have somewhere to be. So ask yourself, what does that look like? So I want you to follow up with some of your customers now for the next 10 minutes. And I want you to ask them, how are you loving your products? How are things going? You can ask them, if they're saying, I'm really loving them, or I've had really great results, or maybe it's someone that's been with you for a while. Ask them, would you mind if I shared your testimony with my team? I know there's so many people who could benefit from hearing from the success that you're having. And if you're really comfortable with them, ask them, hey, I would love to highlight your testimony on my social media this week. Do I have your consent to do that? Obviously, you always want to make sure someone's okay with you taking their story and putting it publicly on social media. This is a great way to potentially get somebody working the business, because a lot of people are secret product users and they have friends and family who are desperately looking for something like that. So I want you to take 10 minutes, or let's just take 8 minutes right now. And I want you to think about, take 10 minutes, sorry. It's gonna take a little bit. Think about your customer care system, and then I want you to be connecting with your customers and then just making them feel loved, talk to them about sharing a testimony, see where they're at, okay? And we will be back in 10 minutes.